Yo, what up, Street Dogs? Air Kim. Alright, so some turbo thoughts for y'all. So this one is super basic. The basic notion is what I knew about photography if I started all over again. So I'm pretty much convinced that 99.999% of the information on the internet about photography, philosophy, and so forth is kind of, maybe it's like it's a little bit weak. It's just kind of a little bit rehashed and boring. It's taken me nearly a decade to uncover what I truly believe in photography, and I'm still learning. So obviously this is just my opinion, but take what you like, and for what you don't like, you don't need to take just my 2 cents. All right, so first and foremost, just like, a little bit about my life story. I remember when I started photography. This is before social media. I just shot pictures because I liked it. Shot with my original Canon SD 600 point and shoot digital camera. And I just had so much fun with it. And down the line, joined Flickr, and then the goal was to get 100 likes or faves on one of your photos. Then once I hit that, I wanted 200, 300, and so forth. So the first thing is, I'm pretty certain that social media is the worst thing for photographers and the worst net negative that you could do for your soul, your mind, your self-esteem, blah blah. So let me kind of explain. So first and foremost, my thought is the biggest downside with social media is you essentially become a slave to the algorithm and also to the opinions of other photographers. What that means is that when it comes to photography, imagine if you crowdsource your self-esteem, where your self-worth as a photographer is based on views, numbers, likes, and so forth. Now, that's not really good, because even the algorithm which controls how many people see your photos and stuff like that, it's the Facebook and the Instagram newsfeed algorithm, and y'all know that Instagram is owned by Facebook, right? So the problem is, the amount of likes and stuff like you get is actually not contingent on how good your photos is. Essentially, the algorithm just has your balls in a vice. Now, I would actually say the best thing I've done for my personal creative flourishing as a photographer is deleting my Instagram. So about 3 years ago, I deleted my Instagram. It was probably the best thing I ever did in my life, because now I actually have the power to disable my likes, my comments, my page views. And so typically most of the photos I upload are on my blog, my website, and stuff like that. And I am like a quadrillion times happier now than I was in the past. And especially in terms of my photographic growth and movement, it's definitely on the up and up. Now, because what happens is, with social media, you become more risk averse in terms of experimenting, because you discover a formula that works good for you, and as a consequence, you stop pushing yourself to innovate, to motivate yourself, and so forth. And as a consequence, you just end up kind of repeating and regenerating what's worked for you in the past. And this is actually why I think Migos' original Culture album was so good, because it was so brand new and unique. But once Culture 2 came out and their new songs, they're essentially trying to rehash the formula that's worked well in the past, rather than being like, Bob Dylan or Kanye or, Steve Jobs, whatever, to try something new that hasn't been attempted before. And so certainly, to maximally thrive as a photographer and visual artist isn't to just kind of replay what's worked well for you in the past. It's actually having the fun and the enjoyment of trying out new things, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, there is such thing as great photos, but no such thing as perfect photos. So what do I mean by that? The basic notion is, a great photo is big, it's strong, it's powerful, whatever. And you can shoot many great photos in your lifetime. And it seems the joy is always striving to one-up yourself in photography to make even greater photos. Now, perfection is not true, because it's a notion that we get from Plato, and perfection means that there could be a perfect triangle, square, line, and then we all know that there's no such thing as a perfectly straight line in nature. nor a perfect triangle or circle, triangles, whatever. And probably better for us to cut the umbilical cord with Play-Doh and also Euclid. These are just basic concepts that kind of are a little bit useful in a very general sense, but with truly innovative compositions, we need to break free of the slave master, which is Play-Doh and so forth. So now, my goal isn't to make a perfect picture. My goal is actually to make photos which I consider great. And is it a binary? Like, is it non-great or great? I mean, it's up to you to judge, but great photos are possible, perfect is not. So the third thing is, I do think that we photographers should stop calling ourselves photographers and just call ourselves visual artists, or better yet, just call ourselves artists. Even my 4-year-old niece Amelia has the courage and audacity to proclaim herself as an artist. Like, it's actually funny too, because like, you know, the adults around her say, oh, you know, keep it up, Amelia, one day you could become an artist. You're doing so good drawing that crayon book, right? And then she goes, but I'm already an artist. So same thing, you're already a photographer, you're already a visual artist, you're already an artist, whatever, and you don't need nobody else to tell you that you're not. So what is a visual artist? It means you like to paint your world and your canvas with the pictures that you shoot, and you know, you're not forcing yourself to only shoot photos. You could, you know, paint, you could draw, you could sketch, you could dance, whatever it may be. So don't let nobody put you inside a box. Figure out what number I'm on, but anyways, other things which I find highly useful is the best camera for photography is Ricoh GR. So I don't know how long this video will last, but just buy whatever newest Ricoh GR camera exists on the market. Currently it's the Ricoh GR3, and I think it's better than the GR2, even though I missed the flash. Better yet, if your pockets are deep, just buy both. And it's funny because at any price point is better than any digital like anything. And to truly have a small camera which is compact, always with you, is really going to help you thrive as a visual artist. And I'm a huge fan of iPhone cameras, but okay, think about it this way. A Ricoh GR3 is about 900 bucks. A new iPhone is over 1,000 bucks. You know, the image quality of a Ricoh GR3 is at least 3 times better than that of an iPhone Pro. So if your primary goal is truly to focus on your photography, just get a Ricoh GR3, or better yet, you could get used Ricoh GR2, stuff like that, because I look back at all the photos I shot on the phone, good compositions, good photos, meaningful, whatever, but they don't have the same aesthetic beauty as I shot on the Ricoh GR2. So that's one thing. Also, another thing is, when it comes to presenting your work, certainly best is on your own website and your blog, and realize you're kind of always in a stream of becoming, and your style as a photographer is always changing, it's always evolving, it's waxing and waning, it's getting bigger, it's getting smaller, it's getting worse, and so forth. And your goal isn't to trap yourself within one style. You don't let yourself become a slave of your style. Your style is just simply a reflection of what you're kind of already doing. So one day you might want to shoot black and white, the other day you might want to shoot color, whatever. And I would just say, allow yourself to indulge of all forms of photography. But if I really think about it, the photos that are really, really meaningful to me over the last decade, it's still monochrome. So for me, I find black and white photography more like artistic than my color photos, just for myself. I do find that both is beautiful, and when I do go through portions of studying color, it actually does give me new wings to my black and white photography. So, you know, for me, I consider black and white more beautiful for my photos.